Afternoon and welcome back to Imola. It is day 2 of our Finale Mondiali weekend, the culmination of the 2022 Corse Clienti season. And we have lots going on. We have more races of all continental series this afternoon. We have the overall Finale Mondiali tomorrow, and later tonight we will see the highly anticipated presentation of the Ferrari LMH, with which the Maranello manufacturer is going to make its return to the top class of the FIA World Endurance Championship from 2023. But there is more. The 296 GT3 is here in the paddock, so let's have a look at the future of Ferrari GT racing. This roaring beauty, from next year, this roaring beauty unveiled at the 24 Hours of Spa-Francorchamps last July will represent the future of the prancing horse in GT racing in sprint and endurance main motorsports events around the world. Taking the baton from the 488 GT3, this is the 296 GT3, which grew out of the 296 GTV, and there are many more numbers that have changed. It has a V6 engine, making it lighter and leaner, but very powerful at 600 brake horsepower with 710 Newton meters of torque. Intuitiveness, visibility and accessibility are critical to the development of the design, which refers back to vehicles such as the LM250 of 1963, offering the perfect combination between simplicity and functionality. There has been a great job done on the aerodynamics that has resulted in a 20% greater downforce compared to that of the 488 GT3. The chassis and build are not only sleek and aerodynamic, but more than ever they are user-friendly, perfect for racing, preparing, repairing and racing again for the longest and shortest races in the world. Coming up next, official Ferrari Competizione GT driver Andrea Bertolini is going to guide us through an onboard lap at Imola. This is what the drivers have to face at this racetrack.
Ora vi porto a scoprire i segreti di Imola, un circuito davvero leggendario, fa parte della storia del motorsport e per i piloti è un circuito pieno di fascino. Ok, qua ci stiamo lanciando per il nostro giro a Imola, una delle piste più importanti, storiche nel panorama internazionale del motorsport. Qui siamo già in settima marcia e raggiungeremo una velocità di oltre 280 km/h, davvero una frenata importantissima dove scaleremo fino alla quarta marcia. Quarta marcia e dobbiamo davvero danzare sui cordoli. Utilizziamo la quarta perché abbiamo a disposizione tanta coppia, tanta potenza del nostro motore, della 488. Altra frenata, altri cambi di direzione per poi essere davvero efficaci in uscita, puliti per arrivare alla frenata della tosa. Questa la affrontiamo in terza marcia, dobbiamo curare bene l'uscita, curare la trazione perché abbiamo un rettilineo in salita dove possiamo davvero utilizzare tutta la potenza della 488. Adesso dobbiamo essere molto puliti di nuovo in uscita, questo è uno dei settori più belli e leggendari della pista di Imola. Le acque minerali, davvero una cosa incredibile da affrontare a livello di emozione per un pilota. Quindi siamo già alla variante alta, qui dobbiamo davvero essere efficaci in frenata, tagliare bene i cordoli senza chiaramente esagerare più track limit e uscire per affrontare tutto il rettilineo che ci porta alla Rivazza. La Rivazza è una frenata dove arriviamo già a 245 km/h, grandissima frenata grazie all'impianto frenante a Brembo, davvero efficace. E qua dobbiamo avere un'uscita perfetta, il rettilineo di Imola è davvero lungo, qua possiamo fare la differenza e abbiamo concluso un giro di pista. Imola per i piloti è qualcosa di unico.
We knew that this track would deliver great action as we saw in the Trofeo Pirelli Europe and Asia Pacific race. This is what happened. And after the race, a more relaxed Doriane now that she has a title in the bag. And an ecstatic Nicolo Rossi spoke to us in the Parc Fermé. Doriane, that was a very eventful race to start, but you made the most of it.
Yeah, fantastic start. I mean, yeah, the lap was pretty. I mean, the first lap was pretty good, and then the pace was quite good also throughout the race. So very happy, and it's a good preparation for the Finale Mondiale.
How are you feeling now that the title is in your bag?
Yeah, for sure. The goal of the season, as I say again, it was to win the championship, so I'm very happy to achieve that before the end of the season. And yeah, I'm happy to continue to win, and I'm here for that, and to win every race as possible. And yeah, very happy, and thank you to the team for the job.
Thank you very much. You do feel more relaxed now. Nicolo, a bit of an inherited win, but a win nevertheless, and very well deserved.
Indeed, indeed, I'm very happy. It was a hard race, it was a tough one. It was a painful. I would say that good things don't come so easy, so I'll take it. I mean, I've been a bit of up and downs, and definitely this is maybe a bit of karma.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
Smiles all around, and we love it. The day had already begun with a fantastic Copa Shell race. Let's relive the best moments. I love how honest and open our Copa Shell winner yesterday, Roman Seaman, is about how he used to doubt and not be confident about his own potential, and how he has turned things around is just impressive. This is what Roman and our Copa Shell winner Peter Christensen had to say after the race. Congratulations, Roman. You seem to be in complete control even after the safety car and the restart of the race. Tell us, how did things feel for you out there?
I'm really happy and proud of me and team, because I was really, after our first testing days, I was not imagine that I can compare with the strongest guys here. The track is for me really very difficult to bring all the parts together. But we get done, and the pace was really strong as well after the safety car. I find again the power to push just for the last 3 laps, and yeah, we get it.
Awesome job.
I'm so happy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Difficult to believe that Peter here had not raced the car for a few months, because what a way of dominating pole and win.
I'm surprised as everybody else.
How was it for you?
Amazing. It's nice to be back in the car, back on the track, back with the challenge again. So I missed it.
And what was going through your mind during the race? How do you feel with the car?
I felt the car actually good. I didn't have a chance to go to any testing, so I only came here 2 days ago. Haven't been here for many years at Imola, but the confidence grew, and yeah, just feeling like the car was driving itself.
Fantastic. You make it sound easy. I'm sure it wasn't, though.
No.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
The day continued unfinished with more drama in the Ferrari Challenge North America race. So much happened. The titles in Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli Am are still open. We will crown the champions for North America Trofeo Pirelli this afternoon. And if you missed yesterday's race, this is what happened. None of the drama, however, interfered with Manny Franco's perfect pole to win race, and this is how he was feeling after crossing the finish line. Manny, so much drama happening behind you, but you kept your cool and you brought the victory home.
Yeah, definitely excited. I'm happy about it. You know, it's hard to see what happens when you're up front, but I hope everyone's all right. But yeah, lots of drama, and I'm happy I kept it clean and brought home the victory. So.
Thank you very much. Good luck for tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
Now let's talk about tires. Depending on your attitude to them, they might be just black and round, as Kimi Raikkonen once famously said, or they can win you or lose you a race. Either way, as the only thing that connects the car to the ground, the tires are the most important component on a racing car. So let me take you behind the scenes at the Pirelli fitting area and find out what it really takes to put shoes on the prancing horses. We are now in the fitting area of Pirelli, the official tire supplier for Ferrari Challenge, where all tires for all track activities are prepared and fit on the wheels. Want to hear some numbers? For this Finale Mondiale, Pirelli has brought 4,800 tires between slicks and wets. A team of over 30 experts takes care of all the needs of teams and drivers. In particular, in this area, the tires are stored, carefully fit on the rim and then delivered to individual cars before action begins. The championship and Ferrari itself have a long-standing collaboration with Pirelli, which has been a partner and title sponsor of Ferrari Challenge since the very beginning, back in 1993. For Ferrari Challenge, the tires are always developed in parallel with the car using virtual design technology to reduce the number of open-air test sessions for sustainability reasons. For the Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo, Pirelli has developed a complete new set of tires with particular attention to the materials and structure of the front tire to optimize the car's aerodynamics. The science and technology and innovation behind every single aspect of Ferrari Challenge is just impressive. Now you should be fully prepared for today's program. Remember, we have again 3 races this afternoon, so fasten your seatbelt, get ready for high-speed action and join me very soon on the grid.
Hello everyone, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Imola. It is the Finale Mondiale weekend here, and it is the Trofeo Pirelli Race 2 of this weekend that will get underway shortly. Race 2 is on the Saturday. Why is that? Because ordinarily they're Saturday and Sunday. Well, of course, we had race 1 yesterday, so hope that you joined us for that. And of course, tomorrow we have the non-championship Finale Mondiale event. Oh yes, the Gold Roof Final, as I have called it, the World Champion, to find out who will be World Champion in terms of Pirelli and Pirelli AM, and of course all of those drivers We have them all regions here this weekend in Finale Mondiali, because we have our European drivers on the track right now. They are joined by drivers from our Asia Pacific series, and of course we have the North American region with us here this weekend as well. Finale Mondiali always means something special. Of course it does. It's a huge festival of everything that is absolutely brilliant in the world of the prancing horse, literally just up the road, of course, in the house of Maranello. And look at this. Some additional aerial attraction to our racing to be enjoyed. As if a 488 Challenge Evo was not a beautiful machine enough. Listen to the noise that comes out of the Eurofighters. That almost rivals the power plant of the 488 Challenge Evo for absolute spine-tingling excitement, of which there will be plenty this afternoon with our Trofeo Pirelli Race 2. Beautiful machines being piloted to utter perfection. And that could be applied to the aerial movements that you've just seen, or to the cars and the drivers that we will see on the track. It was a really compelling qualifying session earlier on today that saw Alessio Dono be the fastest, going from the CDP Best Lap team, going from P1. Alongside is John Wartique, and down there on the grid is Marietta Evans.
Good afternoon from the Trofeo Pirelli grid, where on pole we find 17 years old rising star Alessio Dono, who has explosive speed. Next to him, John Wartique, a driver with a lot of experience, and just behind them we have our Trofeo Pirelli champion, French rocket pocket, Doriane Pin. So an explosive mix cocktail for a breathtaking race start, I'm sure. Let's hear now from Alessio Dono. Alessio, after yesterday, I'm sure you are hungry for a good result. How have you prepared for today? What's going through your mind?
Yes, today I'm very happy because my first pole position in this championship. Today I'm start the first road, so I'm very happy. I'm ready to go, and I will to go my best.
Good luck.
Alessio Dono then going from P1. A brilliant qualifying performance. Can that P1 in qualifying be converted into P1? Well, we will find out in about 35 minutes' time. There was Pino Frascaro, one of our Copa Shell drivers that we just walked past there with our one of our handheld cameras. Here we can see to the right-hand side of the grid, that is the shape of one Mr. Luca Nurmi, who is just about to get into his car. To the left-hand side of the screen, you saw the car of Nigel Schoendeverd. So the grid is a very busy place indeed with of course, some of our Competizione GT drivers, Alessio Provera, that we just walked past there. To the right-hand side now is Christian Brunsborg, and there is Niklas Nielsen. Now, Nico Spalek, who is alongside me as always. Christian Brunsborg was very unfortunate yesterday, and he'll be hoping, as another driver, to right wrongs of yesterday.
Yeah, indeed. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, Christian Brunsborg was kind of the pinball ball in a move which really went awry, and it was Angebadi actually careering into Marco Pulcini. But since Christian Brunsborg in the lead for the AM race was just ahead of the two, he also got taken out. No chance to avoid that, and so certainly he will try to convert P2 on the grid into P1 in the race if he can somehow make it happen.
He was a completely innocent bystander, as was Marco Pulcini as well, so you're absolutely right. They, of course, will be hoping for better things today. When it came to qualifying, actually, Marco Pulcini, in terms of Pirelli AM drivers, was the quickest in qualifying. He goes from P1. It is Christian Brunsborg that goes from P2. Allow me to give you the information that will enable you to follow who is who and in which category. If it's a Pirelli driver, they are covered by a red sunstrip across the top of the windscreen. Actually, that's really important today because it is gloriously sunny and maybe 24-25 degrees. So red sunstrip for our Pirelli drivers. For our Pirelli AM drivers, they have a white sunstrip across the top of the windscreen. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier on, we have our drivers from the Asia Pacific series as well. Yellow sunstrip for the Asia Pacific Shell drivers, and it is a white sunstrip for the Pirelli AM drivers from Asia Pacific. And for Shell AM drivers from Asia Pacific, it's a black sunstrip across the top of the windscreen. Please follow on us at Ferrari Racers. Indeed, be part of the social media and become part of the wonderful prancing horse family of Ferrari. I was 1 degree out. I said I reckon it's about 25 degrees. It's 24 degrees, the air temperature. The track temperature is 32 degrees, Nico. Just a little flutter of wind of no more than 2 kilometers per hour velocity.
Perfect conditions, especially late in October. What better setting for this Ferrari World Finals? And there is Doriane Penn. She's already locked up the Ferrari Trofeo Pirelli Championship in Europe, and this is the track where they will do battle.
Indeed, Sector 1 contains all the turns from 1 through to 6, and you can see that the first chicane, the Variante Tamburello, comes along very, very quickly from the start. Once you exit the second chicane into turn 6, you then find yourself in Tosa. Turn 7, begin climbing up through turns 8 and 9, downhill through turn 10, which of course is the Acqua Minerale, very, very famous, before you start climbing once again towards the Variante Alta, which during our track walk yesterday, we found that the uphill battle was not quite as arduous as we thought it might be.
Siamo ad Imola, finali mondiali, dopo tanto tempo ritorniamo sul circuito dell'Emilia Romagna. Una stagione partita con la prima gara del Ferrari Challenge Europa, che poi a mano si è andata a sviluppare su tutte le varie serie dei campionati continentali. Ma non solo Ferrari Challenge, abbiamo Formula 1 clienti, abbiamo XX Program, abbiamo Club Competizioni GT. Il Ferrari Challenge è partito con una cinquantina di macchine e siamo qui alle finali mondiali con oltre 60 vetture solo per la serie Europa. Per quanto riguarda invece il programma XX e il programma F1 clienti, che come tutti i nostri clienti, i nostri appassionati sanno, vanno di pari passo, siamo stati negli Stati Uniti, siamo stati in tutte le piste più importanti in Europa e dunque possiamo dire che anche lì c'è stato un crescendo di partecipazioni. Abbiamo circa una sessantina di macchine, che è il record di tutte le finali mondiali della Ferrari. Per cui è con grande orgoglio che citiamo questi numeri, perché stanno a testimoniare la grande salute delle nostre attività sportive. Parliamo poi del Club Competizioni GT, il nostro programma più recente. In occasione delle finali di Imola ci vede con tantissime vetture, un numero veramente importante, siamo quasi vicino alle 30 unità. Non solo gare, ma c'è anche la Gran Premiere della LMH, la vettura che segna il ritorno della Ferrari nel campionato del mondo. E poi la 296 GT3, la vettura che abbiamo presentato alla 24 ore di Spa, che andrà a sostituire la 488 GT3. Per cui non solo gare, tanto spettacolo, tanto divertimento e tante novità.
Mr. Antonello Coletta, then head of Attività Sportive GT, and fine man, illustrating just the heritage of the 30 years of the Ferrari Challenge. Of course, we celebrate our anniversary year this year for 30 years. But not only that, everything else that happens in the world of Ferrari in GT racing and all the Corsa Clienti programs as well. So the jingle and graphics indicate that we are about to go racing. The Richard Mills safety car leads the cars away then. And here is the grid in full, which is my pleasure to bring you. Eliseo Dono going from pole position. John Wartique, very good qualifying. He goes from P2 on the grid. Doriane Penn, the Trofeo Pirelli champion, is going from P3 with Thomas Neubauer right alongside, completing the second row of our grid for Trofeo Pirelli. Adrian Sutil and Nicolo Marinangeli, they go from P5 and P6 for Go Motorsport and CDP. And then to the fourth row of the grid, where we find the best of the AM drivers. They are Marco Pulcini and Christian Brudensburg, going from P7 and P8. To the fifth row of the grid, where we go next, it's Nigel Schoendevert, and perhaps out of position a little bit is Luca Nomi, a Trofeo Pirelli driver, on the fifth row of the grid, going from P10. To the sixth row, Yuda Uchida is the best of the Asia Pacific drivers. Alongside him is the Trofeo Pirelli AM champion Ange Bardi. expect overtaking from him. Nobuhiro Imada and Hanno Laskovsky share the 7th row of the grid. It's P13 and P14 for those two drivers, before Andrew Morrow and Max Mugello. Andrew Morrow, such a star in the UK series of the Ferrari Challenge, going from P15 today. Arno Dahlmeier and H seconds, and a big mention to H's daughter, celebrating her birthday, Elisa. Happy birthday to you. Alessandro Cozzi and Nicolo Rosi then are on the 10th row of the grid, P19 and P20. And then we find Klaus Sibranson and Alexandre Boucher. They are P21 and 22 of our 31-car strong grid. Kajay Yagura and Eric Chung go from the 12th row of the grid. It's P23 and P24 with Motohiko Osasaki and Faisal Al-Faisal going from P25 and P26. Kazuyuki Yamaguchi and Andrew Gilbert are on the 14th row of the grid. It's P27 and 28. Baby K and Mikhail Boucher are on the next row of the grid, with Chigura Kawai going from P31, and the Euro fighters then making their presence known on the formation lap of this wonderful Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli race. The grid has been revealed in full. The drivers now, the sense of anxiety and tension and anticipation coursing through their veins of these wonderful cars as they head towards the start. Always it is a rolling start, and this, for our Trofeo Pirelli drivers, Nico, is their very final race of the 2022 championship.
Yes, absolutely. All championships in Europe have been decided in this category, so we can look forward to a one race. No strategy, no tactics outside of this race. So it's going to be all here within these 30 minutes. Expect drama, expect action.
It's all or nothing as we are about ready to go racing. Might I advise you to hold on to anything that's loose-fitting, because, boy, this is going to be exciting. Stand by as the cars form up in side-by-side grid formation and head towards the timing line and the lighting gantry. You can see Alessio Dono is champing at the bit to get going. John Vortique is deadly at the start of a race. Let's see who is going to be P1 into turn 1. Maximum crank. Let's go racing. Brilliant start from Alessio Dono. Brilliant start also from John Vortique, who was able to match the pace. Here is Thomas Neubauer trying to position himself perfectly. Alessio Dono goes into turn number 1 with P1. John Vortique behind. Then it is Thomas Neubauer being hounded by Doriane Penn. We can see one car out into the gravel. Thomas Neubauer taking to the grass, and Doriane Penn goes by to pick up P2. Went by John Vortique and Thomas Neubauer in one slam dunk of an overtake move. Brilliant stuff from Doriane Penn. Here comes Thomas Neubauer to the inside of John Vortique. He has to take to the curbs and the grass to try and avoid contact with the FML D2P driver. So it is Alessio Dono who's trying to make haste his escape up the road ahead of Doriane Penn. Then it's John Vortique and Thomas Neubauer who are arguing over P3, and then it's Adrian Sutil who is running in P5. But already you can see that Alessio Dono has picked up something of a comfort margin, and look at these two absolutely flying here as Adrian Sutil goes by John Vortique now. So it's Dono, Penn, then it's Neubauer, Sutil, and Vortique now finds himself in P5. Bear in mind he started on the front row of the grid. The best of the AM drivers is Nigel Schoeneveld ahead of Marco Pulcini. Wow, what a start to the race, Nico. Very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's John Vortique who really suffered, because he was really battling with Thomas Neubauer and looked like he had P2 sewn up. And then the two got fighting and Doriane Penn slipped through. Very much a loser in this is Nicolo Rosi, and it goes
John
from bad
Vortique.
to worse for John Vortique. I think he can keep it going, but obviously now that is his reign is utterly ruined. I was about to say Nicolo Rosi really dropping down the order from his position, only down in P17. So certainly not the great start. Nigel Skundevord, as you said, really good start, has made it up into P1 in the AMs.
Did you happen to notice who it was that made contact with John Ortega? He was being followed by Nigel Skundevord, I believe, but I'm not casting any aspersions because I didn't see it. I only saw the result of it, if you will. So, by dint of there being a big gap there, but who knows? Doubtless we will get a replay of that. But what we do know is that for the likes of John Ortega, absolute disaster for him, because he has had to pull into the pit lane, and yes, we will see that if he comes out again now. I mentioned, you will recall, right at the start of the race, I saw one car through the first chicane into the gravel, and I wonder whether that was Andre Bardi, because he's also being shown on our graphics as being in the pit lane. So the incident involving cars number 89 and 26. So I called it correctly. It was Nigel Skundevord. That is under investigation by race control, and that is a great pity for John Bortique. He's okay. Big thumbs up. I mean, I have to say, as a racing driver, Nico, he is a truly lovely gentleman, isn't he? And as you can see, he's perfectly all right. He's out of the car. It's a racing incident, and he takes it on the chin, and of course he will do his level best to battle for the world final race tomorrow.
Yeah, probably a little bit upset and frustrated potentially, but certainly that will all go away when the world final race is on tomorrow. But we focus on what's happening on the track, and there is plenty of action as Luca Nomi tries to get on terms with the Uchida car in front of him. Certainly wants to get past the Asia-Pacific driver and try and chase the other Pirelli drivers ahead of him. First of all, Mariangeli right before it.
Drive-through penalty.
Correctly, and that was a quick and swift decision.
Claudio Garavini is our race director, and I have to say, having worked with many race directors over many years of this this wonderful sport that we love, I mean, that was a no-question penalty. There was nothing malicious there from Nigel Skundevord. It was just an ambitious move that was, regrettably, and it's easy for us to pontificate because we can see it from a completely different angle. When you can see a gap there, you're going to go for it as a racing driver. That's what Nigel did, and unfortunately, the consequence was John Bortique was taken out of the race. So, drive-through penalty for Nigel Skundevord, which will take him out of the lead of the Trofeo Pirelli AM race and give the lead to Marco Pulcini ahead of Christian Brunsborg, and then it'll be Hanno Laskowski that is P3 as Luca Nomi, then, as so poetically described by Nico, is desperately trying to get past the Asia-Pacific driver that is betwixt himself and getting on terms with the cars that are up ahead of him, which of course he needs to be with to try and overtake and to get any chance of being in the podium paying positions, which is going to be a big ask for Luca Nomi as he runs in P8 at the moment, and he's still fighting so hard with Uchida here. And of course now you've got the situation where Marco Pulcini is in there as well. Here comes, I think, Luca Nomi's going to have a go going into Ravazza 1 on this occasion. He certainly looked close enough to be able to do so. Let's see. No, he's not able to dive to the inside. So this is playing into the hands. A big beneficiary here could be teammate of Luca Nomi's, and that's Christian Brunsborg, because it is allowing Christian Brunsborg to keep with Marco Pulcini. And if Luca Nomi in any way can advantage Christian Brunsborg, who's in the red car behind the blue car, which is Marco Pulcini, that would be of great benefit to him. So the 402 car for Rosso Scuderia is one of the Asia-Pacific drivers. It is Yudai Uchida. And Yudai has got absolutely no reason whatsoever to give way to Luca Nomi. Why on earth should he do that? He's got track position overall, and he's going to maintain that as Nigel Skundevord comes into the pit lane to serve his drive-through penalty. Very warranted, issued by Claudio Garavini, along with a wrap across the knuckles, I would suggest, that may come a little bit later on. So, wow, what a race, and what an opening 6 minutes we've enjoyed.
Yeah, absolutely. And Uchida, obviously, he knows that Yamada is the next driver behind him. There are 3 European cars between them, and he certainly would like to keep it that way.
Yes.
Because as long as that's the situation, no chance Yamada can attack him. So, absolutely. And as you say, Pulcini and Brunsborg, now that Skundevord has taken his drive-through penalty, it is the battle for P1 in the race for the AMS.
So, I think we can go down into the pit lane, and I suspect, I didn't hear quite correctly our director, I suspect that Marietta is able to speak to the displaced John Wartig. Or maybe not. So it's Alicia Dono from Doriane Pin and Thomas Neubauer ahead of the AM drivers, Marco Pulcini and Christian Brunsberg, and then we see Hanno Laskowski in a podium position, and still Luca Nurmi is doing his level best to get by Uchida here, and you can see the seesaw effect in terms of the timings between both of the drivers, that at the moment there's nothing that Luca Nurmi can do. So let's try. This is take 2, and down in the pit lane is Marietta with, we believe, John Bortig. Well, you get 2 chances, you're not getting a third. So, Alicia Dono leading from Doriane Penn and Thomas Neubauer. Then it is Marco Pulcini and Christian Brunsberg and Hanno Laskowski for the AM drivers. So Luca Nurmi pushing very, very hard. What is the effect of this? He can see that the top 5 Trofeo Pirelli drivers, Nico, are just escaping up the road, aren't they? And any opportunity he's got to try and get on terms with them is being diminished by lap by lap by lap.
Yeah, absolutely. He essentially has to hope for a safety car, which will bring everybody back together, because the gap is really, really opening up. Talking about the gap, Alicia Dono leads by 1.4 seconds, and the two have broken away from Thomas Neubauer, who's another 3.5 seconds further adrift. So the top 2 are really a little bit on their own, as we can see the battle. And there is Doriane Penn running in P2.
Oh, and Doriane Penn choosing to just dip a couple of wheels into the gravel, Nico. And here is Adrian Sutil, and there you can see the effect of the gravel being percolated, if you will, from the ground into the visibility of Adrian Sutil. It didn't impact or affect him as we stay on board with him now, and he gets just a little bit closer to Thomas Neubauer now. Thomas Neubauer running in that final podium place. It's P3 for Thomas Neubauer, but we are on board with the former Formula 1 star driving for Go Motorsport. That is Adrian Sutil. So Alicia Dono doing a very, very good job. And I have to say, Nico, 2.1 seconds ahead of Doriane Penn, the Scuderia Nicky Iron Lynx driver. And may I remind you, Trofeo Pirelli champion, is a fantastic, fantastic performance from Alicia Dono. Doing very well indeed. So, there is Adrian Sutil. We run a 2-shot on Adrian Sutil, so you can see him inside the cockpit of the car, and you can see every movement that Adrian Sutil makes and how it translates to him getting a bit closer to Thomas Neubauer. We are at about a third of the distance of the race, and the Trofeo Pirelli cars have really broken away from the rest of the pack. There is no question about that. And the man that has broken away the best is Alicia Dono. Absolutely driving really, really well, and managing to maintain that 2.3 second margin from Doriane Penn. You can see that Adrian Sutil is doing everything he can to try and get on terms with Thomas Neubauer. If he could take a podium out of this race, I think he would be pretty thrilled with that.
Yeah, definitely. But you can see the gap between the two is seesawing a little bit, but it's not significantly coming down for the time being. So Adrian Sutil certainly knows how to preserve his tires and will certainly try and have a chance, but he's not going to overdrive the car to get close, but then have nothing left in his Pirelli P0s to attack. So he has to be really smart about that, and he knows that he's got 19.5 minutes remaining to do the job, because realistically, getting on terms with the top 2, unless there is a safety car, is probably too tall an order. Nicola Rossi making progress, having climbed up to P15, which is P6 in class for Europe. So slowly making up ground after a pretty forgettable qualifying, I think it's fair to say.
Yes, I think it is fair to say. Well done. So Alessandro Cozzi, Arno Dolmeyer and Nicola Rossi then the battle for P6 in Trofeo Pirelli AM, and we saw Alessandro Cozzi making his way to the car just before we made up our way to the broadcast centre here in Imola. And there you can see Luca Nurmi is remaining in that P8 position, sorry, P7 position overall. It's P6 within class, and he's still not able to find a way past Yuda Uchida, the Rosso Scuderia driver from the Asia Pacific Series, and Luca Nurmi and Marco Pulcini and Christian Brunsberg just running into the gravel a little bit there and impacting the visibility of those cars that are driving behind. So, where are we at? Alicia Dono, P1. Doriane Penn is P2, and then it is Thomas Neubauer that is P3. For the Asia-Pacific drivers, it's Yuda Uchida who is leading. He's running P6 overall, and we've got a car in the gravel there, and that is one of the Asia-Pacific drivers. And where that car is situated, Nico, for sure, I think that is probably going to propose and propagate a safety car. So that car is just too close to the tarmac to be able to get away with that with wave double yellows, particularly as it looked like the car was not moving at all. If you can get away under your own steam, it's a whole different ball game. And yeah, sure enough, just as I say it, the safety car has been called for. That is a real disadvantage, if I may say, to Alicia O'Donnell.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was the Baby K car, if I caught that correctly, among the dust that was kicked up. But, you know, everybody getting closer together and trying to get on the inside.
It was
no touch.
It was the use of those sausage curbs, and we were saying, weren't we, that the driver's really, really aggressive over those sausage curbs, and Baby K was slightly misplaced here in terms of trajectory, and then trying to undercut the 521 car ahead meant that he ends up in the gravel. So this is a great opportunity potentially to Doriane Penn, because all of a sudden the huge margin that Alicia O'Donnell had built up, and I say huge, it was when you consider you're being chased down by Doriane Penn, who is the Trofeo Pirelli champion. All of a sudden, all the advantage he had has been neutralized and gone away. Let's take a look at the replay of the start then, as the cars all headed up towards turn number 1 in the first chicane. There you can see there's a huge grid of cars, and actually it was a brilliant start from Alicia O'Donnell, and then John Mortigue was always on the back foot from that moment on, wasn't he? He was being attacked by Thomas Neubauer. I think that was Ange Bardi that was going through the gravel that you could see there. And there, Adrian Sutil. That wasn't gravel, that was a lock-up from someone ahead, and there's Ange Bardi making his way through the gravel then, and that unfortunately not the way he would want to start the last race in the 2022 season ahead of the World Finals, of course. And we think Ange Bardi actually retired the car at that point and took it back into the pit lane. The Scuderia Nicky Iron Links team were saluting and celebrating the fact that Doriane Penn had taken advantage of all heck breaking out around her, and indeed put herself into that P2 position, and now she really does have an opportunity when we go back to racing to get by Alicia O'Donnell, potentially, Nico.
Well, you say that, and it's certainly accurate. On the other hand, she had a 3.5 second gap towards Thomas Neubauer, which also has been taken away, so therefore she will certainly look to attack, because she always looks to attack, but Thomas Neubauer will think the same. Well, actually now I'm in touch. I'm right behind Doriane Penn, and I will try to get that P2. So for her, it's kind of advantage and disadvantage at the very same time.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other, possibly, would be the expression to use. Luca Nurmi will also be rubbing his hands with invisible soap in anticipation that perhaps from the safety car restart he will be able to get by Yuda Uchida, who he had been stuck behind, because it's nothing to do with Yuda Uchida being problematic to him, other than being problematic in terms of the pace he had. There was just no way that Luca Nurmi could overtake him. Simple.
No, absolutely. And Uchida really driving a very, very impressive race thus far. Marco Pulcini, Christian Brunsberg, back-to-back for P1 and P2 in the AMS for Europe. So that's going to be drama, potentially. So I hope that after this lap we will be able to go back racing.
Well, I have to say that the recovery team here at Imola works so quickly. I'm sure that will be the case. They have, when they've had to recover cars, Nico, they have done it with efficiency, and it's been done very quickly indeed. So we hope that's the case on this occasion. No indication yet that they, just as I say that, literally just as I say that, the safety car is coming in this lap. We see it on our screen, then we see it on your screen, and it is, well, it's almost like I'm a Paul Daniels-like magician.
Amazing.
Like that, not a lot.
14 minutes remaining, so when this lap is concluded, maybe we'll have 12 more minutes to do racing.
Convert that to laps for me. Come on, you are absolutely brilliant when it comes to your Excel spreadsheets. How many laps are we going to get?
8, possibly?
7, I think.
Fair.
what do I know? That poor man alongside me has had to put up with me all season long, and we have such a fantastic time, because how can you not have a fantastic time when you're talking about this wonderful racing from the Ferrari Challenge? So Thomas Neubauer is very vigorously weaving from side to side to generate some temperature into the tyres. What they do, and we don't necessarily see it all the time, is they go hard on the brakes, because of course the temperature that's generated from the braking is dissipated through the rims out onto the Pirelli tyres, and that of course affords a maintenance of some temperature into those tyres, particularly for the second half of the race, where tyre degradation, because the tyres have been put through a lot over the first half of the race, Nico.
Yeah, definitely. And you will see that now the safety car will peel off and get up the road, and Alessio Dono will be able to control it and determine when he will go. And it's up to Doriane Pin to determine when, or to try and anticipate that, yes, and everybody else behind.
And that's always very, very difficult, because you're hovering. What Alessio Dono is not allowed to do is accelerate and then decelerate, accelerate and decelerate. You're not allowed to do that. Once you've decided to give it 100%, you have to stay at 100%, and Alessio Dono goes for it now through Ravazza 2. I think Doriane Pin has anticipated it quite well, perhaps better so than Thomas Neubauer, if I'm honest with you. But I don't think Alessio is under threat from Doriane Pin, unless she's going to be the king of the late breakers going into turn number 1, because the gap between the two is too much. She is taking a look at the inside line, but she's not close enough. Nothing like close enough. If anything, Thomas Neubauer gets a second wind, if you will, and gets a little bit closer. So through the chicane they come then, and Luca Nurmi, I'm afraid to say, did not make an opportunity, or did not use the opportunity, I should say, to get by Yuda Uchida. So Yuda Uchida maintains his position. So we're on board with Adrian Sutil, who equally didn't get as close to Thomas Neubauer as perhaps he would have liked to have done. So a safety car restart, which promised little, actually didn't deliver any of the drama that you and I were hoping for, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's true. Imola has made it past Max Mugelli, and that puts him a little bit closer to the Uchida car, but that was pretty much everything that happened here right away. But we've still got 11.5 minutes, and it's certainly going to be on the minds of all the drivers to close that gap and make their move. As we said, championship decisions have been made, so it's not about tactics and preserving points. It's really about getting the best position you can today.
So it's Nicolo Marinangeli who is after Adrian Sutil now, and Yuda Uchida then is the next car in the order, and then it is Luca Nurmi. And there you can see Marco Pulcini and Christian Brunsburg, as we were saying, they're fighting for the honours in terms of Trofeo Pirelli Am in Europe. And they are ahead of Hanno Laskowski, who is P3. Incidentally, we were at dinner in the same restaurant as Hanno Laskowski last night. Car number 66 is exceeding track limits at turn 9. Nothing wrong with that, you might say. Well, there is, because it's his final warning, and it is Luca Nurmi who's been warned for the final time about exceeding track limits at turn number 9. And when you get your final warning, Nico, the next track limits excursion that comes carries with it a fairly heavy price, because normally it's a 10-second time penalty.
Yeah, 5 or 10, it depends on race control, but certainly it is a time penalty that you incur, and that certainly means that whatever small benefit you might have gained out of extending or exceeding the track limits certainly is penalized several times over. So certainly something you definitely want to avoid as we ride on board with Adrian Sutil.
Oftentimes, it has to be said that those track limits excursions, certainly towards the end of the race and in the final half of the race, as there you can see, is that Nicolo Rossi attacking Alessandro Cozzi here. In the second part of the race, Nico, some of those track limits, they can be excused because the tyre degradation is such that, you know, the tyre does not afford you the same grip as it did right at the start of the race. Now, of course, you should make adjustments according to that by taking your foot off the accelerator a little bit. That is perhaps the most alien thought a racing driver could have.
Yeah, definitely, but it is exactly the rationale that race control will have to, and kind of has to apply there, because you have to be in control of your car. And there is Nicolo Rossi, who tries to go on the inside of the AC car, as we saw Hanno Laskowski go through the turn ahead of them, or Arno Dahlmeier rather. There is Adrian Sutil. I think he's a little bit closer to Thomas Neubauer now.
Well, I've just been looking at the sector times, and Adrian Sutil is quicker in certain sectors than Thomas Neubauer. So that means that that is going to be very, very interesting. Now, Nicolo Rossi, if he could get by Arno Dahlmeier and find himself close to Hanno Laskowski, that would give him a potential of a podium, wouldn't it? But that is, he's got a couple of cars, well, more than 2 cars to overtake to get into that position. Nicolo Rossi, of course, was victorious yesterday, and here, if proof were needed that Adrian Sutil is getting closer to Thomas Neubauer, it's actually really, really visible now and visual, as you can see. So he is chasing down the Charles Posse Courage driver now. Adrian Sutil then fancying another trip to the podium in Ferrari Challenge, and Thomas Neubauer was a little bit wayward on the entry to that turn, but it does give him a good exit of the turn. Adrian Sutil, of course, a fine Formula 1 driver with lots and lots of experience. He knows how to manage tyres because it's, as does Thomas Neubauer, is a hugely successful driver as well. But for my money, Adrian Sutil has been not so aggressive, as more super smooth and just quietly stealth-like getting closer to Thomas Neubauer, whereas Thomas Neubauer tends to be really, really aggressive, and you can almost see that through the car movements, the fact that he's throwing it all over the track.
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely agree with that. And certainly in terms of tyre preservation, that bodes well for Adrian Sutil. Now, Luca Nomi has closed the gap a little bit to Uchida, but he has to be super careful in terms of track limits and not picking up a penalty. I thought it was really interesting when we were on board with Adrian Sutil earlier, and there was the part where the gravel was on the track, how you could hear it hammering against the underbody of the car. And obviously, gravel on the track is something the drivers absolutely don't want to encounter.
For sure, for sure. It's really interesting when at the end of the race, as I sometimes make my walk down through the pit lane, I kid you not, the drivers have got vacuum cleaners out there to take the gravel away from the underside of the car, because of course, you know, once the gravel is stored in there, not only is it irritating in terms of rattling, but of course it can come out on, and you know, if it comes out the front of the car, and it can actually impact the rear of the car. So now going through the gravel there and distributing quite a lot of it across the track, which is perhaps not what's needed, is Nobuhiro Imada. So Nobuhiro Imada then making his way through the chicane in a perhaps less than straight line, and then the number 500 car of Kanji Yugura in strife as well, in going around and a complete 360 and actually pointing in the right direction. Now, thankfully, he will be able to get that car going once again from there. We're into the final 6¼ minutes of this race. Where has the time gone? There you can see the 3 cars of Hanno Laskowski, then it's Arno Dahlmeier, and then it is Nicolo Rossi. And they're having a really good fight in class here, and Arno Dahlmeier at the moment is still able to show a clean pair of heels to Nicolo Rossi, who's chasing him in the black and green car. It's a different livery for Nicolo Rossi this weekend as he chases down. He was on the top step of the podium yesterday, and here comes Adrian Sutil, is turning the wick up against Thomas Neubauer. Now this is for the final podium place in terms of Trofeo Pirelli drivers. Now, Adrian Sutil's first year in the Ferrari Challenge, he would like to end it by being on the podium. Takes quite a lot of curb, more so than Thomas Neubauer. You can see there as Adrian Sutil is absolutely determined, trying to find a way past Thomas Neubauer ahead of him. It's going to be tricky to do that. They're out of the Rivazza turns. They're onto the start-finish straight, which isn't now. And the reason I say it isn't is because it's got 2 kinks in it where you run as close to the wall as you dare. Is Adrian Sutil going to have a go going into the first chicane? No, he's not quite close enough to be able to do it, but you can see that Thomas Neubauer and Adrian Sutil are really attacking those curves and doing everything they can in the final stages of this race. Just 5 minutes left to run then for our Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers here, and Adrian Sutil still chasing down Thomas Neubauer for the P3 position. The difference between them is minuscule. It's like 3/10. A little bit of a wobble there from Thomas Neubauer. You can see the back end of the car stepping out, and that meant that Adrian Sutil can get even closer to him. Barely the width of a piece of A4 document paper between the two of them. Brilliant driving from both of them because they've been really clean and tidy, and Adrian Sutil is trying to just provoke a small error, if you will, from Thomas Neubauer, but Thomas Neubauer, generally speaking, does not make errors, and car number 6 is exceeding the track limits at turn number 9, which is the final warning for car number 6, and that's Thomas Neubauer as we get a safety car, and the safety car is, whose car is that, Nico?
I think Klaus Sebranson, potentially. He's certainly dropped off our timing screen, and there is that Nicolo Rossi? I think it is, yes. And that's Klaus de Brands and Nicola Rossi. That battle that we saw earlier where Nicola Rossi was involved, and yes.
That's really unfortunate. Going across the curbs for Nicola Rossi unsettled the car. He made contact with Klaus Sabranson. Sabranson was, actually just put into a spin, wasn't he? And there was really kind of nothing either driver could do to dial out of that, in all honesty. I mean, quite clearly, Klaus Sabranson was not expecting it. Yes, the attentions of Nicola Rossi were, may I say, really rather unwanted, perhaps, by Klaus Sabranson.
Sure. 3 minutes remaining, and
oh no!
You can already see that the recovery team is there with the car, so there is even a chance we might go back racing. I think it's very unlikely, to be honest. But
I have to say, the recovery team here at Imola this weekend have been exemplary, Nico.
Absolutely. So there is still a chance. I will give them a fighting chance after what we've seen this weekend. But 3 minutes, I mean, that's tight. Really, really quick. So we will see.
In the meantime, what it does, it aligns Doriane Penn with another chance to get to Alicia Dono. And of course, we have, in terms of the Pirelli AM drivers, it's Marco Pulcini from Christian Brunsberg and Hanno Laskowski. So that's the way it looks then, and with just 2.5 minutes remaining, Nico.
Yeah.
Sono venuti qua per fare la prima esperienza nelle finali mondiali. Oggi abbiamo visto in prova libera 2 con il treno di gomme nuove, con i tempi ci stiamo insieme agli altri. Le aspettative, visto appunto il prove libere 2, sono tante, si può fare bene, la macchina c'è, il team c'è tutto l'aspetto dietro la macchina. Siamo arrivati con l'obiettivo di far bene, la pista è bellissima, poi qui in Italia è una delle più belle per me. È molto guidata, molto tecnica come pista e speriamo di far bene.
We thought you would like the opportunity to hear from Alicia Dono in something that we recorded earlier on, and there he was, and the subtitles, of course, there. Alicia Dono, I think he's going to win this race, Nico, because with just 1.5 minutes and the safety car still out, surely that's done for.
Yeah, we're in the final sector, and generally the safety car has to turn off the lights by the end of sector 2. Otherwise, it is too late, and certainly as we head down towards Virazza, even at race speed, you don't do another lap with 1 minute and 20, no. And so that means, unfortunately, this race will end behind the safety car. Not that it lacked in drama.
The Alicia Dono fan club. Hello, good afternoon to you. You're on the television. Oh. Go Dono, go Dono.
Someone's very tired, though.
Oh. And there is Alicia Dono being well supported here in Imola. So there is the safety car, and the safety car is going to lead the cars across the timing line, and by dint of the fact that the safety car is still out there, we are going to run out of race duration, and you're absolutely right, Nico. We're not going to get any racing laps remaining. So Alicia Dono will take the win from Doriane Penn and Thomas Neubauer, I predict. And for the Asia-Pacific drivers, it's going to be Yuda Uchida that will win. We start the final lap behind the safety car. Now, what will probably happen, I suspect, if it's safe to do so, is the conclusion of this lap, the safety car will peel off into the pit lane and at least allow the drivers to take the checkered flag. So lots of applause and support from the many spectators that we have here this weekend, and Alicia Dono then having done a brilliant job and will lead Doriane Penn. The race ending behind the safety car, no overtaking. We've had that confirmation on our screen, and there you have it on our screen as well now. The race ending behind the safety car, which is a way that no racing driver wants the race to end. And I have to say, perhaps the most frustrated people about that will be the likes of Doriane Penn and potentially Christian Brunsberg, who might feel that they just had, with another safety car, another bite of the cherry at trying to advance their positions from P2 to P1 in their respective classes, but it was always going to be a tall order.
Yeah, just one more restart, please. One more restart. But no, unfortunately not. It's going to be interesting if there will be any consequence for Nicola Rossi following that incident. Not that it will change the podium, because it's going to be Marco Pulcini, Christian Brunsberg and Hanno Laskowski. But I'm sure that race control will have a look at that incident and have to decide if that was just a racing incident or it was more. We will certainly find out, as car number 19 is asked to return to the race control after the podium.
Well, CDP are celebrating loud and proud. Why will Why will Alessio Dono have to report to race control after the podium, Nico?
Well, I don't know, but certainly since it's after the podium, I expect that there is no reason that would change the race result.
It's probably for some innocuous reason that I was reading too much into, so I apologise for that. Yes, absolutely. After the podium means that the podium is not in question in any way, shape or form, and I can see no reason why it would have been. So Alessio Dono then, who is going to be victorious in this race. As I said, I think the safety car will peel off into the pit lane and allow Alessio Dono to at least take the checkered flag. We'll find out in just a couple of moments. The lights have gone out on the safety car. So as that disappears down towards the Ravazza turns, so Alessio Dono and Doriane Penn and Thomas Neubauer will be able to at least take the checkered flag. And for our AM drivers, it will be Marco Pulcini and Christian Brunsborg and Hanno Laskowski. So there we have it then through Ravazza 1. Here comes Ravazza 2 then. And Alessio Dono then gives it a tepid footfall to head towards the checkered flag, to receive the checkered flag and to take the win here in Imola. He weaves from side to side and indeed is the race winner. Alessio Dono for the CDP Best Lap team takes the win from Doriane Penn and Thomas Neubauer. For the AM drivers, it is Marco Pulcini, Christian Brunsborg and Hanno Laskowski. The best of the Pirelli AM in terms of Asia Pacific is Yuda Uchida ahead of Nobuhiro Imada. And for the Asia Pacific Shell drivers, it will be Kazuyuki Yamaguchi, Eric Chung and Motohiko Isazaki. And for the Shell AM drivers in Asia Pacific, it'll be Shigeru Kamui ahead of Baby K, who of course didn't finish the race because ended up in the gravel. Nico, wow. A race that, you know, in parts was supreme, and then unfortunately having to finish behind the safety car, which is always a disappointment, but there we are. Racing is racing.
Indeed, and Alessio Dono will be super happy, over the moon, certainly for the rim today, but he'll also have hopes maybe for tomorrow, because given the pace he's shown over this weekend, tomorrow is just one race for all the glory.
Indeed. Gold Roof final. If he's half as happy as his supporters are, he'll be jolly happy, because they have been very, very vibrant in terms of their celebrations. And well done to Doriane Penn, who I have to say has been a remarkable driver all season long. Of course, she would have liked to have finished her championship winning season with a win, but it wasn't to be. It's going to be a P2. Alessio Dono, Doriane Penn and Thomas Neubauer, then the top three. Those are the drivers you'll see on the podium. Ahead of Adrian Sutil, Nicola Marinangeli, Luca Nurmi, Max Mugelli and John Watique, of course, not classified. He was taken out of the race fairly early on. So that is our classification for Trofeo Pirelli. Of course, we'll bring you the Trofeo Pirelli AM classification in just a moment as well, which will be the likes of Marco Pulcini and Christian Brunsborg and Hanno Laskowski taking the 1, 2, 3 with Arno Dahlmeier. Nicola Rossi at the moment retains that P5 position. I wonder whether race control will take a look at that and consider that a racing incident. Alessandro Cozzi, and then a great showing from Andrew Morrow from the UK, who takes P9 in class, and then the rest of the order, as you can see. So our final Trofeo Pirelli race of our 2022 season, our 30th anniversary season, is done and dusted. Okay, let's take a look at the podiums then for our Asia Pacific drivers, Yuda Uchida and Nobuhiro Imada for Trofeo Pirelli AM. For Copa Shell, it is Kazuyuki Yamaguchi and Eric Chung and Motohiko Isazaki. And taking the win in Asia Pacific Shell AM, it's Shigeru Kamui. And there are the congratulations continuing for one Mr. E. Dono.
Indeed, well deserved, great performance, and really made it stick from the start. Did a lot of hard work in qualifying, but really made no mistake in the race. Doriane Penn, yeah, doesn't look too unhappy.
There's nothing that Doriane Penn can look at upon this season with anything other than complete and total satisfaction, I would suggest.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Scuderia Nicky and Iron Links, and there's Angelo Dupuy from the CDP team. You can see to the very left-hand side with the light blue shirt there. And Alessio Dono escapes the clutches of all the support. Balaclava comes off, and well done, Alessio. So congratulations for Asia Pacific as well. Drivers very, very happy indeed. And you can see one of our official photographers there, Roberto Viva, as we take a look at the pit show now from Ferrari Challenge. Well, those celebrations, Nico, are loud and proud. That's for sure. Alicia O'Donoghue then victorious. And there's Marco Pulcini. Now, it's really, really good for him to see him on the top step of the podium, Nico, particularly after what happened to him in Mugello.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Pulcini and Brunsberg, yesterday's victims, or 1 and 2 today.
Eliseo, what a brilliant run for us to watch, but how did it feel for you?
Yes, I'm very, very happy because my second race I won. I thanks infinity my team for the work, my family, my friend. The race is very, very difficult, but I won more, and I focus for tomorrow for the world final, and so I love Ferrari.
You have not even done a full season and you got 2 victories, poles, amazing overtakings. Did you expect to do so well so quickly?
It's very, very difficult to win the world final because the gap the drivers is very, very small. But I will to go my best.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you, Alicia O'Donoghue. How you feeling, Nico? Excited after that? Enjoy these highlights.
Marco, if anybody deserved to win today, it was you. We're also happy to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was a difficult year for me, especially after the crash that I had. I didn't even know if I would get back in the car. Yesterday, another difficult race because I got hit and I had a really strong pace. Today it was hard for me because last night I slept 2 hours. I was nervous and I suffered the race today. I suffered the heat and I had issues with tires, but I mean, I'm so happy and thankful.
So much deserved. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well done, Marco Pulcini then, and similar duration of sleep to that I had. Actually, that's a complete and total fib because I slept very well last night. Best progress was made by Max Mugelli in Trofeo Pirelli and by Nicola Rossi in the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. Who were the fastest through the speed trap? Well, it was Max Mugelli for Trofeo Pirelli, and it was Hanno Laskowski who was even quicker for Trofeo Pirelli Am. Look at that, 273.5 kilometers per hour through the speed trap. Not unlike the pace that Nico and I were illustrating as we walked the track in the very dark conditions of last night. We're going to be heading up to the podium next, and we look forward to the podiums and seeing Alessio Dono on the top step. And here are the congratulations then for our Asia Pacific drivers, and in particular Yuda Uchida. Doing a great job, and you can see conversations continuing before we get the podium underway. And the podiums, of course, will be conducted as always by Michele Mambelli, who will be up there, as there is Doriane Penn making her way back to the team, and she, of course, will be appearing on step 2 of the podium, which is something alien for Doriane, really. It's normally step 1, but she'll be satisfied and cannot be anything other than satisfied with her 2022 season in the Ferrari Challenge. Here is Michele.
Primo podio, terzo classificato
Thomas Neubauer then taking the step 3 of the podium. And then for P2, it is going to be the young lady that we were talking about just a few moments ago, Doriane Penn. She's done jolly well to get up those stairs so quickly. And then on the top step of the podium is hugely well supported here, Alessio Dono.
Inno nazionale.
Applausi means clap your hands. And there's Alessio's driver coach, Matteo Badalus Sontaponte. He'll be absolutely thrilled. I mean, he coaches with passion, Nico, and he'll be so pleased. And there is the hastily, if I'm honest with you, artwork of the Alessio Dono banner that we saw in the grandstands a little while ago.
Substance beats style.
All right, all right. And trophy presentations being made right now then. And there you can see Thomas Neubauer in receipt of the P3 trophy. And here comes Doriane Penn to receive the P2 trophy. And for Doriane Penn, very unusual. Of course, she has been on the top step of the podium. And Alessio Dono then receiving the...
Invito Antonio a restare qui vicino al podio. Chiamiamo Lucio Vergani. Pirelli Motorsport Manager che consegna il trofeo Pirelli.
Luca Vergani is here as well.
Tutti insieme sul gradino più alto del podio, solo i piloti per adesso. Alzate i trofei, lift your trophy please. Rise your trophy. Ok? E adesso anche Antonio Fuoco e Lucio Vergani vicino ai vincitori per questa foto di gruppo.
So Antonio Fuoco from our stable of fantastic Competizione GT drivers making the trophy presentations to Thomas Neubauer, to this young lady, Doriane Penn, and of course to our race winner, Alessio Dono. Well done, Antonio. Fine driver and a really nice young guy to talk to as well. That's Antonio Fuoco and Alessio Dono. Let me just clarify that. Mr. Ferrari, of course, making the Trofeo Pirelli presentation also. And it's time for the champagne. We miss out on that because we have to look at the Drivers' Championship points. Darn. 213 points is how Doriane Ben completes her season, a full 55 points ahead of John Bortique and 74 ahead of Luca Nurmi. And Licia Dono actually finishing the season P4 in the Drivers' Championship points, so that's not shabby by any means.
No, especially with the trajectory towards the end of the season,
absolutely.
he will be feeling very, very positively.
Yes. Here comes Hanno Laskowski then, and as I say, we were dining in the same restaurant last night, and Hanno Laskowski is really, really good driver, as indeed is Christian Brunsborg, complete with the shades on, you know, cool dude, whatever. And then to the top step of the podium is Marco Pulcini. Handshakes all round, great camaraderie as always. Of course, when the crash helmet goes on, Nico, every other driver is an enemy, but great friends off track. So the national anthem fades out then, and we stand by for trophy presentations to come here to Imola. Michele Mambelli, there he is, sent a shot, and Miguel Molina, I think it is, that he's going to make the trophy presentations. If I've got that wrong, I'm in trouble. Oh, thank goodness for that. It's Miguel. He makes the trophy presentation first of all to Hanno Laskowski. And Christian Brunsborg in receipt of his trophy for P2. And then on the top step of the podium, and I have to say it is richly deserved, it is Marco Pulcini. Many congratulations as the podiums are held aloft with some pride by respective drivers. Lucio Vergani is here from Pirelli, of course. And there's Marco's father. And the Pirelli trophy is awarded as well. Miguel Molina and Mr. Vicari will join the photographs as the drivers get together on the top step of the podium. Actually, Mr. Vicari and Mr. Molina are keeping well out of the way of the champagne spraying. Top three drivers, Hanno Laskowski for Rilla and Schnauk Zevio Racing, Trofeo Pirelli and P3. It's P2 for Christian Brunsborg, of course, for Formula Racing. And taking the win for Altea Motors, it is Marco Pulcini. So confirmation of the Drivers' Championship points at the end of our 2022 championship season. Really domination from Alonso Bardi, 186 points, 73 points ahead of Marco Pulcini. And look at this, Nicolo Rossi finishes P3 in the Drivers' Championship. A very, very good achievement from Nicolo Rossi, Nico.
Yeah, definitely. Great trajectory also for him, and so he will receive his trophy tonight in our gala dinner.
I hope to be there. I hope to be there.
There you go.
Okay, up next then we go to the first of our Asia-Pacific podiums, and it's wonderful to see our Asia-Pacific drivers here. Yuda Uchida and Nobuhiro Imada for the Asia-Pacific Trofeo Pirelli AM podiums. Who is trophy presentation this time around? One Mr. A. Fuoco. Antonio to his friends, making the trophy presentations to our Asia-Pacific Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers. Richly deserved. And the trophy's held aloft. Davide De Lorenzi is here to make the Pirelli trophy presentation. And there we have it. Photographs are taken.
Okay, photos and picture from Imola circuit.
And picture from Imola circuit. Here we can see the cars, then Yuda Uchida, or the car of Yuda Uchida for Rosso Scudiera, who takes the top step in that Trofeo Pirelli AM podium.
Absolutely, great race. Keeping Lucanovi behind him, that's quite an achievement.
It is.
Absolutely great consistent racing by Uchida. Really impressive, I think.
As is the champagne celebrations, if I'm honest. The pinpoint accuracy with the aim there was wonderful. Reminds me of a commercial I saw recently. So the Asia-Pacific drivers then, they leave the podium and the Richard Mill banner there. During our track walk, we didn't seem to have managed to get over that bridge, on account of the fact it's not a bridge. It is, but I thought it was a bridge, and it isn't. It is merely a lighting gantry, isn't it, Nico? And Nico had to put me right as I was looking for the stairs up to the bridge. There isn't any stairs, Dave. You fool.
Would never say that, but good to see so many happy people here in pit lane and in the paddock as we get to our Copper Shell podium.
So P3 it is Motohiko Isasaka and Eric Chung, and we are thrilled to see Eric Chung back racing. He, of course, races in Asia-Pacific and also Europe as well. And here comes Kazuyuki Yamaguchi onto the top step of the podium. Well done to all of the drivers.
Il nostro applauso per
well done to our Asia-Pacific drivers there. Wonderful to see. It's Miguel Molina now who's going to make the trophy presentations. First of all, to our P3 driver. Well done to Motohiko Isasaki. And taking P2, Eric Chung. By goodness me, he's got a lot of trophies to his racing career, and richly deserved. And Kazuyuki Yamaguchi, who's on the top step of the podium, receives another race winner's trophy. Well done indeed to our Shell drivers in Trofeo Pirelli for Asia Pacific. He, of course, receives 2 trophies. And there, he's pretty happy about that. Miguel Molina then doing the trophy presentations. All the drivers will get together. Come on, Eric. Don't forget your trophy, friend.
Lift your trophy, rise your trophy.
Lift or rise your trophies. Either will do. And here is the Kazuyuki Yamaguchi car for Kone Osaka. So the champagne about to be sprayed on that podium, and if I'm right, we are going to get a Shell-Am podium from Asia Pacific. Not sure. We will see. So now, if I'm right, I think there will only be one driver on the Shell-Am podium for Asia Pacific, but I might be wrong. It was Shigeru Kamawai, I believe. So podium is being readied as we speak, although perhaps Baby K, because of the number of laps that Baby K did, whether he will be on the podium as well. We will see. Here comes Michele Mambelli. Oh, and there to the very left of your screen there was Filippo Zania from the Asia Pacific Series. Shigeru Kamiuai then.
Inno nazionale.
I have to say, that's an awesome version of the anthem that we're hearing. So, trophies being presented on our final podium for our Asia-Pacific drivers. I think it's Antonio Fuoco making the trophy presentations there. So, from Nico and from myself, with the podium just about done and dusted, and with the glorious sound of the FXX programs cars on the track, we're going to bid our farewells from Trofeo Pirelli, and we'll look forward to seeing you for our next races very soon. Bye-bye for now.